Welcome back to another episode of Boys Love Iland 2 Final Count. Do you want to do the intro? I feel like I always say, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Cut.
Okay. Laurie Metcalf. 안녕하세요. Boys Love입니다.
That was okay. That was on our reaction. That joke, that one-time joke, was on our reaction to the finale of His Man 3.
Oh, so there's no crossover here because no one here is watching.
Which was also at this point a month ago. This week for Boys Love, we watched episode 11. This is the semifinals.
We're almost there.
Produced live.
I know. Produced by Teddy's.
Aired
produced
live.
by Teddy's. Produced by Teddy's girl group.
What? Are you okay? You having a stroke?
No, because they have to say
A girl group produced by Teddy
every single time.
Yeah. This week we watched episode 11. Episode 11 is semifinals. It's the self-made test.
It's live.
It's 2 hours and 45 minutes long.
And we guarantee you this recap will not be that long.
We guarantee you this recap will probably be 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because there's really not a ton to talk about.
It's the songs and then the
And then who
rank.
gets the boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 girls are going to go home at the end of this episode. And so 10 will advance to the finals next week. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's the plot.
That's the plot of the show.
That's the plot of the show. Making a girl group.
Produced by Teddy.
So they find out it's self-made test. So there are 2 centers, and they're going to draft their teams. Mm-hmm. The 2 centers are PO1 and PO2 of the show currently. So Coco and Jimin. Mm-hmm. So they are not on the same team. They are given 9 songs to choose from.
And they're all debuts.
They're all girl group debuts from different generations.
It was weird that they didn't have In Bloom in there, but that was probably my only one. But I guess technically Attention is the 5th gen debut?
Yeah, that's the 5th gen.
I don't know. I think they missed out by not having In Bloom there.
Yeah. Coco drafts her team. She picks Jiun, Sujung, Juwon, Jongin, and Yuju. Mm-hmm. And Jimin picks Fuko Sarang Mai, Sebi, and Gyuri. Coco gets to pick her song first. She picks LATATA by G-Idol.
Yoja Idol.
And
that was Bang Jimin wanted to do that song. Bang Jimin wanted all of the members.
Yeah.
She couldn't do
So
it.
Bang Jimin gets everybody else, and she does Into the New World by Girls' Generation.
Yes, she was like, I personally wouldn't do the song, but my team is primed for it because they all would fit that song well.
Yeah, I mean, they did. That is kind of
That's
the 2
panorama.
camps.
That's
the 2 camps of the show, it feels like, honestly. Jimin, Fuko, Sarang, Mai, Sebi, Gyuri. Those are the brighter girls.
Yep.
And then the Girl Crush girls are the other group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes! What would you have picked? Would you have picked LATATA? Would you have picked
No.
Into
I
the New World?
would have picked Into the New World. The other option that I would have thought about.
I would not have picked Fearless.
I would not have picked
Attention.
Because
I
then
think
you
we're
would
too
just
close. I think
you
it's
would
too
just
soon.
be compared the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think the strongest choice would have been to do Into the New World.
Yeah,
because
everyone knows it, and it's so iconic.
Everyone knows it.
It's a little nerve-wracking in that way.
And people would be looking forward to like, oh, how would you interpret this in your own way?
Yeah, for a group of 6. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the other songs were. You didn't know the other ones. There was like Good Girl, Bad Girl. I'm trying to. Oh, Red Velvet's debut was there.
Red Velvet's, yeah.
What like debut? If you don't listen to girl groups. But like, what debut girl group song would you have done?
Name a girl group. Name a woman.
Name a woman.
Okay, just any woman. Oh
my god, I'm blurring that out, bitch.
You asked me to name a woman. I named a woman.
Awful.
Name a woman. We didn't put an adjective of what that woman is. We just said name a woman. I named a woman.
Mm-hmm.
There's a level of the whole thing that's like so funny because it's at this. There's something about when people have that much money and yet they're still petty that I'm like, isn't it wild that doesn't go away?
Yeah. You're still rich.
Honestly, probably it gets worse, to be honest. Because
Yeah.
at that point, you can pay people to also be petty with you.
And that's just what's happening. It's just a bunch of rich people trying to be like, well, I'm right. Who cares?
I mean, on one hand, it's funny, right? That she's like, new jeans is the standard where now all the girls are wearing long, straight hair.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but that's just how their hair grows out of their head. But then, on the other hand, I'm watching Iland too, being like, wow, they all have new jeans hair. Mm-hmm. So maybe she's right. I don't know. That's for court of law to decide.
Yeah, I'd rather have the lawyers do it.
Do we feel good about both of these options?
Although LATATA is a good debut song, it's not my favorite G-Idol song.
No, because especially G-Idol gains its own voice, really.
That's the
because
thing.
Sonyeon
there are a lot.
Takes such a heavy.
There are a lot of girlies on Twitter that are like, ugh, back when they were good, back when they were doing good music.
Wild.
And it's like, just say you don't like her.
Just
say you don't like Soyeon.
I don't think like every G-Idol track is like a success, right?
No,
but they have a singular point of view, which I do.
They have their own style that I'm like, you can't deny that is what makes them like pop off, because it's like, wow, you stand out for the rest.
What is the point of view of LATATA?
Yeah.
There's no point of it's just a song.
Because at that point, just do
and it's okay to have. I love Feel the Pop. What's the point of view of Feel the Pop?
Right.
It's to feel the pop.
Yeah.
And Honey, she was feeling the pop, but like that's not a song. Like I think in the trajectory, I think G-Idol has gotten more interesting in what they've like produced. Thoughts about Girls' Gen?
The blueprint, the standard, the mothers.
I just watched it.
He just watched it before he turned the cameras on.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
It's again of the music video where it's like each person has a thing they're doing separately
in a room. Yep.
Nobody comes together except when they're just dancing.
Yeah. It's
kind of iconic that Taeyeon is fixing the carburetor of an airplane. I mean, like, sure, diva. Absolutely.
While I think it's Yuri or someone is just like learning how to make latte art.
Yeah. I don't know the names of all the members of Girls' Gen, but one of them's just bebopping.
Yes. Oh, Hyo. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just dancing.
That's her dream.
Yeah.
Is just to dance.
And now she's a DJ. She just tours and does like. She DJs.
She's like Paris Hilton,
but like she doesn't play.
I don't know.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe Paris is
doing whatever,
mixing or whatever.
Yeah, whatever they do.
Yeah. Scratch that. Bring it back.
Let's talk about LATATA, their whole story before we go into
their
other stuff.
Yeah.
Juwon is losing confidence.
When we talk about who has
fallen
off part 2 from part 1, Juwon is definitely the one that like not just not being edited or not being shown, but also their trajectory is like, I'm not as confident as I was in part 1.
Well, I think Juwon is a fascinating circumstance in which she was already on the decline in part 1.
Yes, that's true. She ended at ground.
Sarang is the got to part 2 and like started like freaking out.
And then like kind of like
Maya a little similarly.
Yes. I felt like their defense mechanism or their self-saboteurs activated.
Juwon was
kind of already in a place.
At a place where she wasn't getting noticed, which I still think is crazy because I really like.
She's so
Juwon.
talented.
Yeah,
truly one of their best dancers, but because she's short.
It is interesting that the two people that go are the shortest people. Yeah. Okay, that's spoiler alert.
Coco
is the leader.
Okay. Okay, Adam went on. This is the leader diatribe. Back
This is
again.
the leader
back
diatribe
again.
back
Iland
again.
every time.
Every time.
In Iland, the same thing happened.
I don't agree that just because someone is like PO1, they means they're the leader.
Monica
think
says
that's
it like
crazy.
you have to sleep less. You have to have the responsibility of doing more because you are gifted more of like the popularity, like your PO1.
That is the equivalent of being like in a movie, you're the top of the call sheet, and so you're also the director for the day. That's insane. That makes no sense. I'm sorry. You can like
Yes, there are. I mean, yes, Bradley Cooper did it, but that's because he chose to do it. He's like, I want to direct and be Jackson Maine. Coco is not trying to be Jackson Maine.
No, Coco is not trying to be Jackson Maine.
Coco literally picked Soojung because it's like, well, she's great at this.
It just feels like it's fine to be like you're the center, right? Because you got PO1.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like the leader is such a thing that you have to have a specific set of skills for.
Yes.
And not everyone
can
does
do
naturally.
it. No.
So I don't know why we are forcing these situations where people are going to be like, there are other people better suited to this situation. Especially on that team where you have like at least 3 other people who could do that.
Who have led before already.
Yeah, and feel very comfortable
And
doing
feel
so.
very comfortable and like want to do it because they like helping.
Yeah.
Like Soojung even says, like, I saw Coco was having a hard time. I want to help.
Right.
And so, I mean, she says like maybe it was because I was like getting like impatient, but
Sure,
she
but
still
she has
wanted
it done.
to.
I don't agree with the premise of the show.
Yeah.
So I guess from that standpoint, I'm just gonna be a sourpuss about it because and she gets through it and it's fine and they do well or whatever. But like, they just
And Coco does. I mean, she doesn't really break down from it.
she cries a little bit because she feels guilty that they've
yes.
done all the work. But also, one of the qualities of a leader is being like, okay, who's good at coming up with an idea? Please come up with an idea. It's delegation.
Yeah. I know. It felt a little forced to be
It really felt like they didn't know what to
criticize Coco on.
Yeah, we need to give her
They
a
were like,
struggle
well,
narrative.
we haven't given her, she hasn't proven herself as a leader, so maybe we'll challenge her in that way.
She is
Which
only...
I also understand in a show where you want to challenge people. Like, okay, they've never been leader before, let's try it. But when it's clear that it's not their forte or it's really something that they want to do or like feel like they can do.
The only struggle she had was during Lovesick Girls, and that was because she didn't have enough lines.
Right.
And then
they were like, we should give...
And then she won
give some of the rap
Lovesick
to her.
Girls.
Yeah.
So I get that, like, from the show's perspective, you haven't seen her like get beat down and come back up, which is like always like a good storyline for everybody to have. But this one felt annoying.
I just didn't buy it. Yeah. Not that I didn't buy it because I bought that like
I bought that they said that, and I bought they believed they
and they believed that's
I
something...
bought that they believe what they were saying.
Right. I just was like,
I just don't agree with what they were saying.
I just don't agree.
So that's
and that's why they're
thing.
getting paid to be on the show, not us. You know,
Well,
but also I do feel bad for Soojung. I feel like they have just fully decided that they don't want her in this.
I'm going to be very fascinated who ends up being the leader of this group when we find out everything.
Yeah.
I don't think they've announced it yet, but it's going to be very interesting because if Ji-yoon makes it, I feel like it should be Ji-yoon.
Oh, interesting. I mean, she's shown the best.
She's the best. She had the best storyline wise for a leadership thing. That's who I would say.
Yeah.
Still think Jungwon's too young.
Yeah.
And none of the other 8 girls seem like they would want it.
Yeah.
The only other one I would say is Soojung.
But she won't be there. Yeah. I mean, people I think did well. Like, I did think that Mai did a good job as a leader, but she's just not.
Yeah.
That was part 1, Mai.
And she already has a big enough hurdle to like speak Korean and like because she's not as
That's true.
fluent as Fuko.
That's true.
Oh, I could see Fuko being leader. Really though, that's the only thing they have storyline wise
For LATATA.
The episode itself really is more focused on the other team.
Yeah.
I think because they have more of the high ranking members, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I think they were not as stressed about this group having time that they need to like show that they can like show what they can do.
Show they can do, yeah.
They only gave the narrative to Coco and she, did well.
Yeah.
She overcame whatever obstacle there was. And I think that's the only person on this team that production was like, well, we should worry about Coco.
Yeah.
The performance of
LATATA
LATATA
by G-Idol. What do you think? As the expert of all girl groups, as a lover of girl group
As
music.
a lover of girl groups. It was fine. It was fine.
It was fine.
It was a performance that had I been in the audience, I would have been like, wow, that was great. I would not have been like, that was explosive, that was dynamic.
A semifinal
that was
performance. That culminates what they have worked on for the past.
It sucks
10
that
episodes.
Spicy was last week because Spicy genuinely I still think is probably
the best that they've ever
performance
done. Yeah.
on the show so far.
I agree.
Because it's so high energy, it's so dynamic, it's everything.
But I'm trying to remember, like, Queendom Puzzle, the semifinal final performances didn't really wow us. The most was like,
this was the bridal era.
yes, the bridal era.
I do.
The final, like the better song on the final in Queendom Puzzle was the like elevated snap that they did. That was
Yes.
like Miss Girl.
Well, our favorite,
choreographed.
much like this show, our favorite test in Queendom Puzzle was when they did like the unit test.
Yeah, totally. Kay and Bora.
Mm-hmm.
And then even the other vocal team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought it was just fine as well. If I could pick
I thought
out,
it was good. I
Yeah.
thought it was all done well. I think everybody performed well. There wasn't like a standout bad person. There wasn't a standout great person. They all were on like,
they were all in sync.
they were
with
all
one
in
another.
sync. They were all,
The concept just felt like a music bank performance concept. I didn't get a storyline or a point of view deeper than these are 5 mystical roses.
6.
What will you discover?
Mm-hmm.
And then they open the iron wrought gates and then they just start dancing. That's just like
Yeah.
that's an M countdown performance.
That's the first week of their promotions.
That's the first week of their performance, and they
Music
get the
Bank.
big show sets.
Yeah.
It's before the second week where it's just the screen.
The screen. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, that was the feeling. And like it only sucks because the second performance, I'm not saying was like better, like way better, but it had a clear point of view that I'm like, well, it's hard to compete like just a regular music show performance versus like a story.
But that was the challenge. The challenge was for them to come up with the concept, to come up with the whole thing and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say this felt pedestrian, but it didn't meet the moment of the semifinals.
right.
If any other week, I
Yeah.
would have been like, oh, this was really
wow,
good.
that was good, yeah.
But I think because
between
it's
two
the
performances.
semifinals,
Yeah.
I have higher expectations of like what I'm going to be watching.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, it was good.
Yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah.
There's not really anything I can objectively watch this and be like, oh, it wasn't done well. Like, everybody hits their marks. Everybody does a choreo. Everybody sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, if I was to, like, say who I thought was the best and the worst, ironically, like, Juwon stood out to me.
Yeah, you said that.
And, like, I think Jiyoon was my weakest, only because I just want her choreo to be sharper. That's
Yeah.
the only thing. But like genuinely apart from that, I was like, this is fine.
Yeah, I think obviously, I think Coco was still the one who stood out to me the most.
Mm-hmm. I felt like even though she was the center, I didn't. There were a couple times
There were a couple of times where it felt like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the weakest, I don't know, they were all kind of like, it was hard to even pick
They
out.
were very like even,
They're
which
very
is
even,
good.
yeah.
You don't want anyone to like stand out
Yes.
too far and to like be bad. So in that regard, like that's
Which, I mean, I guess that's
professional.
like less conflict in the second team because they couldn't figure out their parts. So they made sure everyone was like evenly distributed here. It felt more evenly distributed.
It
I don't
felt
know
like
if
it was like everything had been thought through and was like, thoughtfully executed. And
Yeah.
it just wasn't exciting. It just wasn't exciting to watch.
I guess thinking back now, my favorite probably was Jongin because she had the exciting vocal parts that I liked.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's tough because I feel like the like Jongin, like she's not a focus really anymore in the storyline
Nope.
whatsoever.
Nope. Not at all.
So I was kind of
Even her
surprised that-
focus it's tangential to Ji-yoon.
I know. So
Yep. Yeah. So that was LATATA. I don't know. Great. Congrats. Okay, the other group. So their storyline is that Jimin is the leader because she's the center and she's PO2, and she kind of gives away all of her
the parts because everyone is trying to like get more lines, get more.
Everyone knows the
center.
semifinals.
Yes, everyone's trying to get more time, and she's literally like, "Do you guys know what parts you want to do? Do you guys know what parts that you are interested in?
Any lines that you guys would like to?
Do you know what parts you'd like to sing for this song?" Girl, now is not the time. Girl.
Now is not the time, girl. Miss Diva doll. The other group is like, or it's Ji-yoon specifically, which I did like that Ji-yoon called this out. She was like, "Is there anybody here just looking at you, sex? Is there anybody here who's feeling like
they don't like
their part?" And before specifically
trying to call out Jimin to be like, Jimin, you like have
clearly
nothing.
are about on the verge of tears.
You literally have nothing in the song.
And Yuri is like,
yeah,
yes,
actually me.
Thank you for opening.
Thank you for opening, and I feel, thank you for sharing
seen
space.
And validated.
Yes, I do feel swindled that I don't have anything.
I feel like I'm barely in the song,
and she has the most lines.
She has so many lines. She's featured so often.
It made me,
and I
loved it.
Beauty.
Because you know what? I was like, that is the most theater actress ass. That is
my God.
high school theater.
Yes.
Attitude. I'm like, Yuri.
It's so cute.
I mean, this girl came in 12th into part 2. Mm-hmm. And now she's 3rd place.
She started in Iland, stayed the entire time in
part
ground.
1. Yeah.
And then came back right at the end.
I would feel the same way. I would be like, girl, it's now or nothing.
It's now or never.
I have to keep all of these parts.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even just like she had the most parts. They were even like in their choreo, they were singing, but they were not in the center. And so everyone was like, who the fuck was I supposed to look at?
Right. Yeah.
I think they were like, Yuri, you were behind everyone while you were technically singing. So I didn't know it was you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. So they have like they all offer like, the other team all like rallies around Jimin and is like,
I know
you need to like be a
leader,
be a lead.
basically.
Well, you need to like have more greed. Like you need to be greedier about it, and it's okay.
Yeah, and everyone's kind of just like watching. Literally, the other team all support Jimin, and everyone else in that team is like,
Ooh. So they go back and Jimin like kind of puts down her foot and is like, we have to actually figure this out. I can't just give away my entire part just because. And I understand. And like she explains, and I think it's very clear, even if she didn't explain it, it's very clear. They're all so stressed. They've all taken this like it's an individual competition thing to heart in a way that's like they've overcorrected. And now they're just not thinking about the
which is crazy because that's what we liked about part 1 and what we liked about Iland 2 in general. I was like, wow, it feels like they're all working together.
Yes.
And it's not like in
gone.
Highland.
Yeah.
No, it's gone.
And I understand they're like the stress is high. They're they're so close they can taste it. So I understand all of them being like, I just feel like I'm not in the center. I feel like I'm not in the center. I feel like I'm not in the center. Because that's the only time you feel like you are able to be featured. Otherwise, people aren't going to watch you. Yeah. I understand all that. And it's clear that Jimin understands it.
Yes.
And I think it's really sweet that she is trying to appease everyone because she knows. I mean, I think instinctively she knows she's going to make this group.
Which is crazy, but she's like acting apologetic about it, that like she's taking the spot, which is so funny because she lost her spot in the first show. It's like all of this trauma.
Yeah.
It's still
she
like,
doesn't want anyone to have to go through what she went through. But
it's still,
unfortunately,
like,
there are going to be people who are going to
that's
not
literally
make it.
It's like she's so ingrained in how hard that was. And I don't doubt that it was terrible
100%.
what she went through.
Yep.
And how hard it was. That she's just trying to push through. And yeah, she really just doesn't want anyone else to go through that.
Yeah. So
they redisperse, they redistribute.
The best part of this episode, though,
I know.
is Gyuri comes up to Jimin later. Well, first of all, she breaks down in like the confessional.
In the confessional, just being like, I've been too greedy.
Yeah. And she comes up to Jimin
and she does
like
literally this. It's so cute. She was like,
she whispers,
I think I was too greedy on my parts. So I just want to say I'm sorry. And Jimin, she's like meeting her where she's at. And she's like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. It's so incredibly kind. It is the thing you want to see happen. It's somebody does something wrong and you're like, oh, don't do that. They figure out their mistake.
They figure out that it was wrong and they correct it.
And they correct it and they apologize. It's just, I mean, I feel like I'm explaining like
how to be a human
being, but sometimes I feel like I have to explain how to be a human being.
Well, how people react.
Yeah.
So like how it happens on TV.
Yeah. Because everyone is, I mean, especially like Cutie what, 16, 15? She's still like developing that frontal lobe, honey. It's being developed.
Yeah.
She's in the middle of puberty still.
Yes.
So it's very nice to like watch them kind of like learn their lessons that they need to learn in order to, you know, not even just be an idol, but be like a functioning member of society. Who like, oh, I make a mistake, I should correct it and apologize.
Right.
That's it.
And that's the thing.
That's all you have to do.
They could have chosen not to show that.
Yeah, well, it felt very much like the Matthew storyline in Boys Planet to me.
Where it's like, we want
a lot of time was given to this.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Well, what did you think, Adam, on this Jimmy Award performance of...
this is musical. This is high musical theater. High musical theater. I was obsessed.
The intro I really loved because it was like, okay, they're using what they know.
The concept they come up with was like, it's a narrative about us
trying to go for our dreams.
And it's the show. So they start with a montage of all of like their pre-show individual interviews.
And it shows how many days everyone has been training, has been a trainee.
Yeah. I mean, is their concept definitely like outside of this show? Would it make no sense? Totally.
Yeah.
Like, fine. But
the challenge is...
I don't think there's any way, even if the other group had like had a crazy cool concept, this is so nostalgic.
Exactly.
This is so like endearing. It's so earnest. It's so real. Like I was like, oh,
it's Umuti and Hayun versus Jay and Bitseon.
Yes. Yeah. But like if Jay and Bitseon had instead of been incredible, amazing,
talented, one of a kind,
right? If they had just been fine, yeah, that's what it would have been like.
Yeah. I mean, I think the standout here is obviously Gyuri. She literally, I could watch her do any Bright Girl Group song, and not necessarily that the song is like bright. But it's like evocative.
No, but it's clean.
It's clean and it's inspiring.
Yes.
Some.
It's not bright, right? Like there's like that kind of almost like Japanese girl group, right? Where it's like plastered on. And that's shellac. Like I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
But this is just
it's like OST almost.
Yeah.
It's like Horse Girl almost. Do you know what I mean? Where it's kind of
yeah.
Just like squeaky clean.
Yeah.
And Gyuri is like
sweet and nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Gyuri was my favorite. And probably Jimin still was like my least favorite. Just because that intro was really tough. when it's like, because they slowed the first verse down.
Yeah.
Um,
Everybody got a little
everyone got a
solo
little moment, but like,
which I felt like helped all of them be like have a chance
yes,
to shine.
had
which
their
is
own
great.
moment. Yeah. But it just didn't sound steady in the vocals to me. Like it sounded shaky for her the most out of everyone, which they've
And you
called
said
her
she was a hype trainee previously?
Adam. People are going to be like, oh, you're a Min Heejin stan because you're trying to destroy Hype.
I'm trying to take it down from the
Trying
inside.
to take it down. You really aren't trying to take it down. You just want gym access. You just want to be in that gym.
I just want. I will stop all. I'll take payment in the form of a gym membership.
Yes, I will shut this whole operation down
Shut it down
if you give me key card access
to the gym.
to the Hype gym. And you know who the first person you'll see in there? Terry.
Oh God.
And then Fuma. Terry and Fuma, I believe, will probably be the
Mingyu.
oof.
No, it'd be like Wooji.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my god. Oh! The Woozy stands are just like, how dare you treat my Pookie Wookie Woozy like that?
So in the first part of the song, where it's just the little solos before they start the choreo,
Yeah.
I was not sold on Fuko. There is like
This was, yes, you said
I
this.
don't know what it is, and I feel so
We talked
bad.
about it last week of like,
But
there's
I
something
don't know what it
missing.
is with this performance. When we get into the choreo, I think it's way better.
Yes, and she does the Taeyeon vocals, like she does the runs and stuff. Like
I think she
sets her apart
just there's something about in this performance.
She's trying
at
to
that
do
first
it
part.
perfectly. Not in a sarang way, but it's like, it feels like she's like, safe is best so that I can make it. Do you know what I mean? That's
It is
the vibe
not,
that I get.
It's not connecting.
Yeah.
Like for that first solo, I was like, they all felt like they were like thinking about what they were singing and like trying to perform it earnestly. And like, of course, they're all doing a little
Right.
performative like
She had,
movement or whatever.
she was on the microphone.
She was on the mic. And she sounds great.
Yeah.
But I was like looking at her face and I was like, oh, you're not emotionally resonating with what the song is saying. To me, that's what it felt like. In the way that I did feel like the other girls did.
But do you think that's, she's not letting it fully be vulnerable? Because this process has been hard for her?
Maybe.
You know? Or maybe it's too deep to do this fast on a live broadcast. You know, it's a lot of things.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't even know what I would give her as a note to like help her.
It just didn't feel connected.
I just felt like I was like, oh, I felt like everyone in their solo, even if, like it didn't sound, 100 or whatever. I still felt like I was like, oh, you're really thinking about what you're singing. And
You're
you
really
sound
emoting
really
it,
good. And like,
you're in the moment.
Yeah. Whereas with her, I felt like she was like, okay, and now breathe here. And then this is the vowel. And like, it's all very technically done well. And like her smile's on and she looks really sweet and she sounds great. But like, I was like, oh, but I can like see the gears turning.
Yeah.
The rest of the performance, though, I didn't feel that way.
Right.
Just in that beginning.
You know who did eat it up?
Sabi, my daughter. My daughter that I gave birth to. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
No, I was going to say this is my favorite Ryu Sarang performance.
Oh, Sarang was so good. Wait, I need her in a ponytail all the time now.
No, a ponytail with a bow.
And her eye makeup
cinching
was
the ponytail.
incredible. She looked great. This was probably her best performance. I really liked her in her the dance unit.
I know.
Too, but
when
this was probably her
Sarang
best
is
performance.
on it, confident, fully understood the challenge,
Yes.
not scared. She's great.
I'm so glad the 6 of them did this song.
Yeah.
Because
this is the right.
It was that I would not have wanted to watch any of those other options.
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally
I thought this was really sweet. I thought this was really great. It felt dynamic. It felt, even with a song that was made in 2007 and sounds like it was from like 1995, like it still felt
but it's access. It's getting you into that nostalgic feeling.
yes
Of like still wanting to dream.
yes yeah yeah
Yeah.
yeah.
If you had to pick just one team.
Oh, Team Jimin.
Team Jimin.
Like if I was like, oh, this one of these groups of 6 are gonna debut.
Yeah.
I would probably say Team Jimin.
I think so too.
Even with losing Coco, I just was like,
this is the performance.
it's just more. I don't know. I was just really. I thought this was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we go to who makes it, who doesn't, they had like a pajama party. While they tabulated votes, so they showed this like prepackaged thing. And there are a couple things I want to talk about with this. So one is the lie detector test. So they do the like beep beep beep. Okay. And of course,
they ask
Ji-yoon,
did you hear Jongwon that day when she was trying to like say congratulate her of coming back to Iland?
Yeah. Ji-yoon. And she says no.
She says no.
And she lied. And I loved it. I love that she lied. I was like, oh, I hope she lies. And she did. Because she continues to serve incredible
and
television.
She's like, I thought didn't hear her. I don't know.
Girl. And it's also, I talked about this in the reaction too. When you go and watch it again, I mean, she's doing the performance of like, I'm performing the act of not hearing someone that I'm definitely hearing.
Yes. Adam.
Yeah. Totally.
Adam. It's great.
It's great. Jonghyun gets asked,
do you still feel uncomfortable talking to Ji-yoon?
and she says no.
She says no, and it's the truth.
Because they buried the hatch. I don't think they really buried the hatch. I think they started the process. I don't think it's an overnight thing, right? I think it's like
if
they're
both
gonna have to rebuild
in this
trust.
group, I will be one of those people flooding that Google form, be like, give us a camping vlog where it's just the two of them.
Just the two of them.
Give us a trip to Jeju where it's just the two of them.
Yeah.
Make them zip line. Make
Holding
them
hands.
bungee jump holding hands, and they have to say saranghae.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah. They do video letters to each other. And this is a huge downgrade from Iland 1. Huge downgrade. I think it's very nice that they gave letters to each other, but in Highland, they got letters from their parents and they got video messages from fans.
I wonder if they're saving it for the final.
I hope so, but I don't think we're gonna get both in the final.
Yeah.
And I think I just like seeing them be validated by their parents.
Yes, it's weird that we haven't got it from parents yet at all. Because that's like a standard, I feel like, now of every Survivor show.
And I understand that, like, in Highland's thing was the pandemic, so they were never going to perform in front of a single crowd.
Yes, but letters.
So it was very different.
Right.
So I understand that, but like, and maybe it will be in the finale. The parents will have like a little thing with the parents. But every survival show we've watched, except for Queen and Puzzle, but that was different because they were already debuted. Has been like, we want to emphasize how like important it is for you to like have a family bond.
Be validated by the huge sacrifice that you and your family are making to be here.
Of course. Show all 12. I'm sorry. Like, if you're gonna do this,
show the relay.
It's shitty to only highlight 4 of the letters to each other. Even if you as a production are like, oh, the girls didn't really say anything that interesting. That's not what we're here for. We aren't watching this because we think they're great orators of our time, right? Like, we don't think these girls are poets.
We want to see the chemistry. We want to see them be nice to each other. Because they could be in a group. And so, like, you're selling me on, like, what are the dynamics that they already have with one another.
And I wonder if, like, they're worried that, like, oh, if it seems like someone really likes someone else, like, then...
that breaks up, like, the storyline that we haven't created
going,
yet.
Or And, like, I don't care. I truly don't care. Yeah. I just want to watch these girls tell each other how sweet it is. Getting to watch Soojung break down
to like be really thankful to Yuchu. I was like, I had no fucking idea they were close.
Had no idea. Would have never known.
And so I was really
don't think the point of the show is to watch people be friends, but it is an added layer that I feel like
makes
both islands do not do well in emphasizing.
Yes.
And I want to see it because they are going to spend the next 7 years together.
Yeah.
Why would I not want them to be friends?
Yeah.
I don't think you have to be friends, but like, there's no way they don't know at this point that people get invested in the individual dynamic relationships.
Right. It's like, what did you have lunch, Chiun? What did you do with John
Not
today?
even from a shipping perspective.
No,
just from
but
like
just
a purely like, I like watching these two people interact. Like, I like that Coco Yuju last week. Great.
So much fun.
So fun, so sweet. Like, do I think they're the best friends? No,
but it was so much fun watching them.
When you get to like they went out onto like that balcony and like overlooked the air or whatever, and they were like, let's debut together. Like, it's the little things like that where it's like they all are rooting for each other, even though they all know that they're rooting for themselves the most, right? Because they want this so bad. There is no like, except for obviously the Ji-yoon storyline, but that was its own thing. Everyone is like really earnestly trying to like help each other do well and like succeed. Coco's helping the girls be bad. Like, they all like are trying. Like, they're not giving people, even in the self-evaluations, they're not giving people bad advice to like give a bad performance. Like, they care about each other.
Show it to me.
I just want to see it.
Yeah.
I just want to see
you have it.
No. Oh, you have tons of it.
You have tons of it.
Yeah, it was just nice that we got a couple of these. I thought like Sabi crying about Coco was sweet.
And Jimin being jealous.
Jealous a little bit.
Because Jimin was like, well, I gave one to Sabi and I thought that she was going to give back to me, but I guess her and Coco were close.
Yeah. That's
fine.
It was all really nice.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to see all 12. What each of the girls chose to say.
Even if you just do
people.
The little clips. Of like
even if
everyone.
You package a little montage and you
it's like a montage
slide
of like
between them. Yeah. I don't care. I just want to see everyone express whatever. Even like Ji-yoon being awkward, like, was funny.
Yes, was funny.
And it gave me more of Ji-yoon's personality.
Right, because she's like, oh, okay.
We're going to find out their personalities when they fucking get in this group because you're going to release so much background content on them. I'm going to be like, wow, I know them way too personally at this point.
Sock Matthew.
So why... like, why... Again... I will always go back to, why did I find out after Gyuvin debuted that he was funny?
Yeah.
Why did you hold that back?
Right.
What about that would be like, oh, well, that's not that endearing. Are you joking?
Yeah.
That's like the most endearing thing about him.
One time we saw Gyuvin's personality was when he did text work with Hui.
That and then bringing the suitcase
and then bringing the
suitcase
of snacks. Snootcase of snacks.
That's why people had such a reaction to Boys Planet. I just feel like I keep reiterating the same points of being like, every show we've watched past Boys Planet, I'm like, this is why I was lightning in a bottle, and it's all it's right there. Just watch the show.
Just do it again.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
iMates vote 3 to save. Mm-hmm. Producers vote 7. Mm-hmm. Okay. Bang Ji-min is first save. Jonghyun is 2.
Jonghyun is 2.
3 is Yoon Ji-yoon. Sorry. It was Coco or Yoon Ji-yoon. It was Ji-yoon who ends up getting it.
Crazy.
I'm surprised by Jonghyun.
I am surprised that those are the 3 most popular people.
Yeah.
And usually it doesn't shake up that much from semifinals to finals.
Yeah.
So I can see that might be the PL 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, unless there's a Heesung situation like in Iland 1 where he like dropped because people were like, "Oh, everybody's gonna vote for it.
It's gonna be fine."
Heesung.
Yeah.
Here are the 7 that the producers choose: Fuko, Coco, Kim Gyuri.
I thought she was gonna be the last one.
I thought she was gonna be the last one too. Ryu Sarang, Jung Se-bi, Mai. And finally, between Yuju, Juwon, and Sujung, Yuju is chosen.
I thought that they were going to pull a fast one on us and do Sujung.
I did not ever think they were going to let Sujung debut in this group. We said this earlier, but I think there was a level of like...
You don't really want to do this.
It's a little like your parents let you do something bad, so then you learn your lesson, and then they're like, see? It's not actually good. We let you stay up until 5 a.m. and now you're sick. See? So that's why we don't stay up till 5 a.m. It's a little that.
It's a little that they're like, see, being an idol is hard. So
I don't even think it's
just go back to dancing.
I don't know what it is.
It's weird. It was
a little weird with her.
And I don't know if it is. I mean, we called that out that like there's a different attitude to her from Lee Jung and Monica that seeps through.
Right.
But like
I'll never get over that they were like, well, your creative choreography was just creative. And it's like, well, yeah, diva.
That's the challenge. But the show has been really highlighting, and I'm sure they were happening in real time, but they were just highlighting of like, oh, she thinks she's so much better than she actually is in part 2.
Yes. Part 2 for sure. And I would say there was a level of
it's fight or flight, and she fought.
She did. She fought. Street woman fighter.
Yes.
She fought. That makes sense.
As opposed to like Juan and Mai and Sarang who retreated.
Yeah. I really liked Sujung on the show. I really hope she debuts.
I just edited episode 6 and I said she was my PO1 at that point.
Yeah.
At getting out of Iwali.
Yeah. Well,
she's out.
Here we are. She's out.
And Juwon.
Ugh.
Juwon was a shame because she ran part 1. As like character-wise, she had so many like funny moments.
Yes.
She would just burst into tears or she would just like laugh. Like
she wore all of her like emotions like right on her chest.
And there was this brief moment where she's like trying to nail this choreography and Coco stays later to like help her. And she's just so infectious because she's just like, Coco, my best friend. Like she's like having a good time, but like not showing it. Like they kind of just wrote her off.
100%.
Her and Mai once again had no.
I actually halfway through the episode, I was like, she hasn't said anything.
She hasn't said anything.
She doesn't get a letter. She doesn't get to give a letter. She doesn't get to do any. She's
Nothing.
not featured in the pajama party at all. It's wild.
It was weird.
So I was like, they're not picking her.
They're not picking Mai.
So then when they picked her, I was like, oh.
It was so weird because you spent so much time in part 1 to show like, look how far she's come.
Yep.
And then like just part 2 was all like, yeah, you sing too nasal. And we've always said that. And then they show a montage. I'm like, I've never seen them say this before. And now that's her big hurdle.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I don't know. It's weird. So bizarre.
It's getting weird.
It's very...
Okay, Adam.
It's weird.
This is it. This is our last opportunity.
This is our last 6.
To pick a debut group.
In PO6. Kim Gyuri. PO5. Yoon Ji-yoon. PO3.
4.
PO4. Thank you. PO4. Choi Jung-un. PO3. Ryu Sarang. I can't believe I have to finally figure out who my official PO1 is.
Between Coco and Sevi.
This is like choosing. This is Sophie's choice.
Yeah. And then in an unceremonious tie, they both received the exact amount of votes.
The exact amount of votes. It's a tie.
It's a tie.
They're both the centers.
I know who it is. Your PO1 is Sevi.
PO2 is Coco and PO1 is Sevi.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
I
like the good girls.
Mm-hmm. So your one pick.
My one pick is Sevi. Yep. If I was voting in real time, I'd be voting for Sevi. RJ, do you need the list?
I do. Thank you. PO6. Okay. PO6, Yoon Ji-yoon. PO5, Choi Jung-un. PO4. Oh, shit.
I know. 6 is too few.
6 is too few. PO4. Coco.
That's real fucking low. I'm a little disgusted by that.
PO3. Mai.
Okay.
PO2. Sarang. PO1 Cutie. I am all in on Baby IU.
Sure.
I am all in on Baby IU. I don't think she's gonna be in this group, but I would rather
She lives on
play
in your
for my heart.
Yeah.
You know, in my heart, this is who.
Park
This
Han
is
Bin,
my group.
PO1. There you go.
PO1 Park Han Bin, and then I'm meeting him tomorrow. So you know, it's meant to be.
M to B.
It's M to B. She has completely taken my heart. It does help that her style is exactly what I love in girl groups.
Yeah.
Music wise, maybe not like music videos.
And she really hasn't been challenged to do another style.
I know,
Which is
so I'm just like,
fascinating.
I can
She's
just
really
she has
skated
gone through, so I can just like watch her like do her best, basically her best work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I think like the sarang, my would be at my top. My would be my PO1 if they gave her a storyline in part 2, but because they gave her nothing, I am just going off of how compelling she was in part 1.
Yeah.
Because she was. Mm-hmm. She was like the secret weapon of part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then to go this entire 2 hours and 45 minutes of nothing.
I know. It's crazy.
Crazy. Oh my God. So yeah, there you go.
Well, are you ready for the finale? Are you ready to find out who? I mean, you already know, but
I think yeah. I'm kind of like telling myself like, no, I imagine those faces.
okay, girl.
So we'll see. We'll see if I'm right or not.